It's the start of the third week at Charles Darwin Grammar. And in this morning's assembly, the headmaster is giving the kids an update.
Thank you very much. Now, a few words about the academic progress of the school. As far as English is concerned, girls doing significantly better than the boys, with far more attention to spelling, presentation, and general accuracy. Mathematics, Miss Gibson says girls marginally better than the boys. Biology, girls are beginning to pull ahead of the boys. Physics, boys were slightly ahead after the test, but the girls have caught up. Chemistry, Dr. Shidlow says, initially girls better, boys are now showing more determination and have now overtaken the girls. You can see that overall the girls are faring better.
At the end of the term, all the pupils are taking 1950s O-level exams. If they want to beat the girls, the boys had better pull up their socks.
Hurry up, get your writing equipment.
First lesson of the day for the girls is chemistry, the only subject these academic high flyers are trailing in.
Sit down, girls. Now, I wanted to demonstrate for you, hydrogen sulfide has similar chemical properties to sulfur dioxide. I'd like you all to write the heading now in your books, Preparation and Properties of H2S. I want you to use the chemical, underline that neatly.
The boys like nothing more than smells and bangs, but the girls have struggled with this traditionally male approach since day one.
Hydrogen sulfide is a very powerful reducing agent. It loses hydrogen as it is oxidized.
Dr. Shidlow is demonstrating basic chemical reactions. But true to form, the girls seem disinterested.
Can you all watch the next experiment now with permanganate solution? There we go in, and you'll notice that immediately was decolorized. As we shake it up, you will gradually observe the formation of a murky precipitate of sulfur as well.
By the time he's got to the well and truly switched off.
The water starts to boil, huge amount of steam is produced, and there's a very large rise in temperature.
And when they switch off, they misbehave.
How strongly
flicking ink
is the reaction between concentrated sulfuric acid and water. So, I'm going to start off by pouring a small quantity of water into, and we shall take the temperature.
It's not long before Amy and Ruby manage to disrupt the entire class.
Try and concentrate on getting the work done. When Kart H2SO4 is added to water...
But if they think they've got away with it, they've got another think coming.
The water starts to boil. The water starts to boil. After the lesson, when I was taking off my lab coat, I noticed to my amazement and great disappointment that the lab coat had been covered in this manner with ink. I have a very clear idea of who it may have been. It would have been a girl sitting at the end of the row because that's where the easiest position was for them to access me. I had my back turned. I was very close to them. Some girls had also asked for ink, so clearly they were looking for an opportunity to carry this out.
Later, Amy and Ruby are summoned back to the lab where Dr. Shidlow has designed a punishment to fit the crime.
Right, I want every single spot of ink washed out. You're supposed to now put them in and start washing. No talking, get on with it.
There's water on.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't care. Do everything you can. Carry on washing it up. You carry on with soap.
It's impossible to remove.
Well, carry on. That's the whole point. I wouldn't have said to an easy task, would I?
But there's a difference between being easy and being impossible.
Well, I'll decide on how impossible it is. So carry on.
Amy has been in trouble since day one. She malingered in games.
Hurry up, you don't understand, I can't run.
She's been a constant troublemaker and suffered constant punishments.
I think if you do punishments, you actually do learn your lesson and you just don't do it again, really.
But clearly they haven't worked on petulant Amy.
I want you to ask yourselves, was it worth it? And think that a little humility, a little dignity, that's the way forward.
So I'm really sick of getting into trouble. It's really boring now. And it's such a waste of time. I don't know, I feel really frustrated.
Once lessons finish, free time is packed with extracurricular activities. This afternoon, there's a science club. Attendance is voluntary, but if you know what's good for you, you'll turn up. This week, the girls and boys have been set a challenge to design and build a go-kart.
There will be a competition to see who can do it the better, the boys or the girls. And there will be a substantial and proper prize for the team which wins.
It's a chance for the boys to salvage their battered egos. With a handful of old pram wheels, scraps of wood and basic tools, the two teams set to work. In the 1950s, even grammar school pupils were expected to learn basic practical skills. A far cry from today, where so-called academic subjects like media studies and citizenship are all the rage.
You're going to help fix the wheels onto the wood today.
Heading up the boys' team is Simon Taylor. He's convinced that when it comes to automotive design, a combination of nature and nurture will win the day.
Of course we'll win. Definitely. I'll die if we don't win. You just see all the blokes like DIY and stuff. You just brought up like doing DIY and stuff. Girls, cooking's more their thing. They can do that, yeah, but I don't think their design will be good at all.
You need metal base and you need to make a hole
really big
through it.
have metal.
But the boys should beware. The girls have a secret weapon in the form of Emily Williams.
I have a go-kart at my granddad's house that I know works, and I know if we make a replica of it that it will work. So I'm just kind of trying to get them to go along that line and to make that kind of a go-kart. The boys feel confident because they're men, and men think that they're better at this kind of stuff than women, but women are more intelligent because they actually think about what they're doing.
Typically, boys like doing, while girls like discussing. True to form, the boys get stuck in, while the girls just bicker.
I don't mind trying that. This we don't start first. Right. We have to make the basics on the beaches like bigger front.
Well, how about we start by everybody shine up and one person talking at once?
The back, where Holly's actually sat, and most of her waisters needs to be wider than the front because otherwise it'll bow. Does that make sense?
And it needs to measure how big the wheels are. If nobody listens to me, it needs to measure how big the wheels are, otherwise you're going to slant. Being girls, a lot of the girls here just are thinking about how pretty it's going to look and how nice they're going to look and how they're going to impress the boys and everything. And it doesn't matter if you don't paint it. It's how practical it is that's going to make it work.
Because everyone's just getting stressed. But yeah, that's what I hate about doing stuff like this, because we are meant to be a team and it just like splits people up even more.
With only an hour left tomorrow to complete the carts, both teams have a mountain to climb.
Good morning, boys. Up we get. I've let you sleep in for at least 3 minutes this morning.
Nearly 3 weeks in, and the girls and boys are getting used to the routine.
I see you've all got your hospital corners right.
But kippers are still a step too far. This morning, there's double physics for the boys. In the 1950s, science lessons were based around practical experiments. Since day one, the boys have thrived on the hands-on approach.
In order to work out the density, and again, this is the key about today's lesson, certainly the first part, is that density is mass divided by volume.
At GCSE, density is usually taught from textbooks and diagrams. It was very different in the 1950s.
So Archimedes was puzzling about this, and one day he got in the bath, and the bath water, because it had been overfilled, started to spill over the sides of the bath. And all of a sudden he shouted, "Eureka!" It was because he'd realised that the way that you can measure the volume of something which you can't work out the volume of is by what we call displacement.
Instead of sticking to the theory, Dr. Wilde has devised a simple experiment to capture the boys' imagination. Using the fattest and thinnest boys in the class, he's going to demonstrate Archimedes' principle.
Right, go on then, Zach. In you get. Very slowly. Now you've got to sort of curl yourself down into the water, and you've got to try and get completely underwater.
So I'm going to push push my head down.
Not everybody, please.
There we go.
That's near enough. That's near enough.
Back up.
Let's see if we can fit you in this bath, shall we?
You're going to go and get a load of water.
That's nice. That's nice. Is it quite warm, is it?
With the introduction of the combined science at GCSE, the number of boys choosing physics as a single science has dropped from 50% to 8%.
Right, I think it's fair to say that what we have is a slight difference in the amount of displaced water.
But for these boys, 1950s science is a revelation.
We just had a crazy physics lesson. They had me having a bath. First one I've had in a long while, so at least it was kind of good.
That was one of the best physics lessons I've ever had this morning. That was dead fun because just totally out of the ordinary, like somebody getting in the bath and they're peak at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not taking physics as an A-level next year, but if it was more like it is here, I probably would.
In the girls' double physics, the topic is pressure.
The title is Hydrostatics, or hydrostatic pressure, we'll call it.
Again, the emphasis is on learning through doing.
That tube there, despite the fact that it's very thin, can produce enough pressure to raise somebody off the ground. And attached at the bottom is a pig's bladder. And what we're going to do is pour water into the bladder. It's a real bladder.
Unlike the boys, the girls haven't reacted well to practical experiments.
It's very...
Don't do that!
They moaned at the maggots.
I'll just pour a little water in it first, just to put a bit of water in the bladder so that it's... I'll tell you when.
Once the bladder is full, the excess water in the pipe should create enough pressure for the bladder to hold a large weight.
Now then, to demonstrate my faith in this experiment... And you can see that I am being held off the ground by the hydrostatic pressure. Yeah, right.
Can I do it? I'll just walk.
The girls initially keep their distance, but before long, their curiosity gets the better of them.
Who would like to walk the hydrostatic plank? OK. Corinne, walk the hydrostatic plank.
It is all squidging out the carpet really well.
Yeah, well, there is a valve in there which has a limit to...
For the first time, the girls seem really engaged in a practical lesson. Perhaps 50s teaching methods might finally be changing their 21st century attitude to science.
I think the physics here, it's taught a lot more interesting, and I think it does help you learn a lot more because it's more visual rather than just from a textbook all the time.
Since I've been here, I've done about 5 or 6 experiments at least. We've cut up a rabbit, we've done the eyeball dissection, we did the bladder experiment today. And when you're doing them, you actually remember things because you can kind of put images to the words that you've learned, so it kind of all stays in your head. It's definitely made me enjoy science a lot more.
Lesson over, it's break. The only time the boys and girls get to socialise. In today's mixed schools, there's a brisk trade behind the bike sheds. But back in the 1950s, romance was a no-no. Vicar's daughter Vicky Buxton and school rebel Scott Peters have been fraternising since week 1.
We have a very firm rule in this school called the 6-inch rule, which means that boys and girls are not allowed to go within 6 inches of each other.
To enforce the rule, Mr. Williams regularly patrols the grounds at break time.
This side of Gilroy, Jessica, where I can see you.
But there's no stopping raging hormones.
I know, makes you a bit
Use the well, it's look.
Yeah, they have a look.
Look, the squash bug is on it.
Peters, Victoria.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to tell Victoria about my eyesight? How good it is?
He's got 20/20 eyesight. 20/20 vision, I think, sir.
So what do you think I observed from over there whilst I was sitting on the chair?
Because it was fast. Labour on Vicky's lap.
I think there was a contravention of the 6-inch rule. So... Excuse me.
Did we break the 6-inch rule?
Oh, please, please, please. Don't treat me like an idiot or a fool.
He was behind me.
Don't. treat me like a fool. Right, you two back up to the terrace, please.
Things aren't looking good for Scott and Vicky.
Right, just stay here for the moment. For contravention of the 6-inch rule, no more free time together today.
Okay.
What's the word that we don't like?
All right. I'm getting bored of him anyway, so...
Oh, good. Well, in that case, we'll have no free time tomorrow as well.
Oh, no, I was only joking, sir. I was only joking.
Well, don't joke.
Oh, please.
If you're going to joke like that, it means you're not taking it seriously. If it means you're not taking it seriously, I will impose a further punishment.
As I went round the corner, like, away from Mr. Williams, me and Scott just had a peck, just pecked on the lips, and that was it, because of the fact that we were obviously not going to see each other for the next 2 days. Thinking that Mr. Williams would be able to see us, we didn't realise that Miss Gibson was right in front of us.
How dare you display that sort of behaviour on school property? You have violated the 6-inch rule, quite blatantly. You will both be punished. Mr. Williams, we need to deal with Peters. I just caught him kissing Victoria.
Oh, really? Right, Peters, out here. Victoria, out here. No more free time together for the rest of this week.
So, yeah, good day.
In just 7 days, the pupils will sit their 1950s O-level exams in a range of subjects, including English.
Put your hand up if you think you can tell me why it is important that you should memorise poetry. Victoria.
Because if a boy wants to woo a girl, then it's best.
That's not why it's important. Sit down.
In order to get anywhere in their O-levels, the girls must be able to quote large chunks of text. So each has been given a different poem, which they must memorise and recite to the class. There's some last-minute cramming amongst the girls, but sneaky Amy is resorting to the age-old writing on the hand trick. First up is Kayleigh. She's reciting London by William Blake. Easy enough.
I can't even remember if that's something.
Perhaps not.
How the chimney sweepers cry in every black... Sorry, I don't know.
I'll sit down, Kayleigh.
Learning by heart is a far cry from what these 21st century girls are used to. In GCSE English, students can take annotated text into their exams.
Half a league onward, all in the Valley of Death, road for 600. I do know it.
Sit down.
I wandered lowly as a cloud, on high over down hills.
Sit down.
Next up is Amy. She should know by now that nothing gets past Miss Gibson's beady eye.
Stand with your hands behind your back. Did you think I was born yesterday? Put your hands behind your back.
I love thee, let me count the ways. I forgot the rest.
Sit down. Demerit for trying to cheat. It shows a great weakness of character. Are you aware, ladies, the memory is a muscle that needs exercising, just the same way as if you are training for an athletics event. The reason we learn poetry is not just because it sounds nice or it's a nice thing to be able to recite at family gatherings. It exercises your memory muscle. There is no reason why intelligent young ladies cannot memorise these words.
These GCSE A-graders are falling well short of 1950s O-level standards.
Some of you nearly 17 years old.
So how will the boys do?
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Something searching. Then it goes a bit pear-shaped.
Drummer Hodge by Thomas Hardy. They throw him into Drummer Hodge to rest.
I wandered lonely as a cloud, huh? I wandered lonely as a cloud amongst the vales and hills. All at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering, dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and float along the Milky Way.
The boys' memories are just as feeble as the girls', but at least they can cheat without getting caught.
In a sprightly dance.
I'm quite good at remembering things, and I've had it so clear in my mind before I went out there, and then when I got there, my mind went blank. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I just felt stupid up there.
Nobody really managed to remember it because it's quite hard, because we're used to having, like, you know, stuff like anthologies and stuff, we just refer to it in the exam.
A lot of this school's to do with memory. It's like remembering the periodic table, remembering poems, remembering mnemonics and things like that. And in our actual school, no, there was hardly anything to do with that. You'd always be given it. We wouldn't have to remember it.
Having added cheating to her list of crimes, Amy's decided to jump before she's pushed. She's asked to see the headmaster.
It just seems that all I keep doing is getting into trouble, and when I do like make amends, it's never, you know, I'm never praised for it or congratulated for it. I'm just, you know, I just wait till the next time that I actually get into trouble, and it just seems to like pile on, and I've just really had enough of it, really.
If she thinks it's just a formality, she's wrong.
I understand you wish to leave the school.
Yes, sir.
Well, probably just as well. I am very angry with you. I have found you to be an insolent girl. Your performance with Dr. Shidlow was unacceptable. You have failed to reach the standards that I have set in this school. And if you wish to leave my school, Amy, you may do so with my blessing. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Leave my study and leave the school.
Right, off you go. Goodbye.
She just proved herself to be a very weak, self-obsessed girl of little value to this school. Things have changed remarkably since the 1950s. In 2005, that sort of behaviour is pretty much accepted. There's very little teachers can do, and so children are getting away with more and more and more.
All I've got is this bag at the end of it, and it just seems like a bit of a waste, really.
Since arriving at Charles Darwin, the girls and boys have been taught separately. In the 1950s, grammar schools believed that mixed classes were detrimental to academic success. But due to a staff meeting, the kids must share an academic lesson together for the first time this term.
In today's lesson, we are going to be looking at Chaucer and Middle English. Would you open your English books, please? Without talking.
Up to now, there have been isolated incidents of disruptive behaviour in the single-sex classes, but with the girls and boys sitting side by side, the whole class soon becomes fidgety and giggly.
Stop talking, girls!
And it's the girls who are finding it harder to concentrate with the distraction of a male audience.
Are you showing off because you're in a classroom full of boys?
No.
Get out.
I'm not showing off.
Get out.
How was I showing off?
The attitude. Get out. Emily, have a go at reading the general prologue in its Middle English form.
Right. One, that April with his shawls suit the drought, I guess, I don't know, of March hath something to the something. And
even SWAT Emily, predicted an A star for drama, is suffering from stage fright.
Of which something.
Emily, could you at least attempt it?
I've tried. I couldn't read the normal words.
Oh, sit down. Stop talking. This is going to be a very slow lesson because I'm not going to talk over you. If we don't get done now, we will do in your free time tonight. I'm waiting for the fidgeting to stop before I continue.
But the girls just can't contain themselves.
Ruby, stand up. stand on your chair. Jessica, stand again, nose to the wall. Put your hands on your head, Ruby.
Distracted by the girls' behaviour, the boys' concentration wanes.
Are you annotating your text?
Because you said you can annotate it if you want. I didn't want to.
Are you showing off to the girls? Is this what it is?
Yes.
It seems that a mixed environment is not so conducive to learning.
I felt there was this undercurrent of disruption the whole time. It was actually quite a difficult lesson. I'm not sure that either the boys or the girls learnt what I wanted them to learn.
I don't think that the lesson with the boys and girls mixed together was particularly successful in terms of learning things.
I've actually enjoyed being in separate sex classrooms because I'm getting to listen to the teacher more, haven't really got as many distractions, and it makes me look forward more to free time because then I know that I can see the boys.
I can already see myself improving, actually, which is quite scary. So I think this way of schooling single-sex boys without the distraction of girls is actually quite useful.
I don't find boys being in the lesson a huge issue. I mean, when I'm at school normally there's boys there and girls there, but I do tend to talk to them a lot. So maybe I'm learning more.
Staff meeting over, the pupils are back in their single-sex classes. Next up for the boys is art with Miss Gibson. And after the mixed English, she's in no mood for nonsense.
Without talking!
This week, the boys are studying portraiture and will be drawing matron.
Right, gentlemen, matron, are you comfortable? Right, you may begin, boys.
The boys' behaviour starts off well, but it doesn't take long for Scott Peters to get up Miss Gibson's nose.
You've excelled yourself. Put some effort into it, boy. An ape could do better than that.
Well, then that ape must be good at drawing.
I think you're so funny.
No, not really. I just can't draw. And I think that's finished. So.
There's no sense of shading there at all. There's no sense of proportion. Therefore, you have not actually fulfilled the objectives of this lesson.
I drew matron. That's what I was supposed to do. That's the best.
Do it again.
That's the best.
Do it again.
I just want to look the same.
Do it again.
Oh, God.
You will keep doing it again until it's better than that.
It's not going to get better unless someone shows me what I've got to do.
Shout at me, young man.
I'm not shouting at you. I'm talking to you.
Stand up.
Maybe a bit of old-fashioned pain will pull Peters into line.
Put your hands out. Face the front. Keep your arms out! Both of them. Did you just tell me to calm down?
Yes, miss.
Stand outside the door. You will be dealt with, Peters. Have you got anything to say to me?
Sorry, miss.
The words come out, but there's absolutely no meaning behind them.
We've got nothing to be sorry for, so...
Do you agree that there's actually no meaning whatsoever?
No, sir.
I don't think you've ever regretted a single thing that you've done wrong here, have you?
I haven't done that much wrong, sir.
Peters has excelled in dumb insolence and backchat from day one.
If you don't take that smirk off your face, I'll take it off for you. Do you understand?
Yes, sorry.
Do you understand?
Yes.
What did I just say to you in that office? No, that was not an apology. What? Peters?
Why am I going to do it again?
Because I've asked you to,
I've already
Peters.
done it.
Do it again.
I've already done it.
Do it again.
Why isn't everyone else doing it again?
Because they were not asleep during my music test. Get on with it.
Peters is being put into isolation For the next 24 hours, he will work, eat and sleep in the school gym. Today, most schools bend over backwards to keep disruptive pupils in the classroom. Back in the 1950s, bad behaviour simply wasn't tolerated, but Scott Peters just doesn't get it.
I can understand why they've done it, because everything else they've tried hasn't worked and I'm still the same. But I don't think I should be here.
Some of Scott's classmates might think he's got off lightly as they battle with fractions.
In the last fraction again here, we have x squared, so that's 1 square, take away 4a squared, another square. So how can this be rewritten?
But in his absence, there's a very different atmosphere in the classroom.
Headley.
Is it x plus 2a, x minus 2a?
Thank you. Maths lesson with the boys this morning was quite interesting without Peters being there. And I think as a result of that, the boys just got on with it. They were calmer to begin with. There wasn't that interruption, there wasn't that faffing around, there wasn't that interruption halfway through to remind Peters to sit up to do this. And it's always fascinating how taking one person out of an equation or putting one person in can actually change the dynamics of your lesson.
After the passing of this act, Scotland dug themselves out of their hole.
And the studious mood continues in English.
That's very, on the whole, I think that's pretty good. Gilroy, could we hear yours? And we're going to tell you what you can cut out. Without Peters in my English class, the atmosphere was completely different. The boys were really engaged, needed no chivying at all to get on with the work, were asking intelligent questions, and they just seemed more relaxed. It could have been a coincidence that Peters wasn't in the lesson this morning, but there was a much calmer feeling altogether, and it meant that some real learning went on.
Well, now Scott wasn't in our lessons all day today, so it was a bit more quiet than it usually is. We all behaved a little bit better, but I'm not going to say I don't want him in the lessons, because everyone does.
With Scott gone, there's nobody really out there, and even Nathan's calmed right down. So, I don't know, I think it's probably calmer with Scott gone, but we all want Scott back because he's a right laugh.
With 1 day to go until the race, the girls and boys crack on with their go-karts.
Special announcement for the completion of the race and the winner of the race. The prize will be fish and chips for all the winning teams. So either it's the girls or the boys. Fish and chips for the entire team. That is the prize. So keep at it. Some very good work is being done.
With good grub up for grabs, competition is mounting between the girls and the boys. There's industrial espionage on both sides. But it's the girls who resort to dirty tricks.
They're not your wheels.
They are our wheels. They are our wheels.
What are you doing? Get that.
They're
not your wheels. They're not your wheels. They're not your wheels.
They're over there.
They're not your wheels.
Yeah, those are ours. Those are ours. Those are our wheels.
We're going to beat you anyway, so you might as well just have the wheels. If you're going to be that petty about it, but these are our wheels. Like, you can have the wheels.
Taurus!
I mean, come on, you have to be dirty at some point, so we did quite well. We kept them for a while. Not very ladylike though.
After that, I'm going to make sure we're going to win. I'm not having that and losing. I'm not having them laughing in our faces. We have to win, have to.
Both karts are beginning to take shape. While the boys concentrate heavily on the mechanics,
So you're going to be right, OK, that looks very good.
the girls are more interested in making theirs look pretty.
After this, I want the white paint, and I want everybody to paint their hand and put a handprint on the deck, okay?
Tomorrow's race will be the ultimate battle of the sexes. It's the end of the day, and the rumour mill is in full swing. What has happened to Scott Peters?
Peter's disappearing investigation.
We don't know where Peters is, we don't know what's happened to him. You know, he could have been expelled, we don't know. You've got people like Vicky walking around sobbing, oh, he's gone, he's gone. You've got people like Kadir going, oh, he isn't gone, he's just in isolation.
I don't think he has actually been expelled yet. Apparently they've got to talk to the governors or something, so, and they won't talk to them till tomorrow.
And I asked the head boy about it, Hudson, and he said that it's 95% true, that the fact that, you know, like, he's going to get expelled, so...
Apparently the headmaster wants him to stay, but some other people want him to leave. There's loads of stuff going around, but I'm not really sure what's happening.
People kept on telling me that he was gone, and there was big commotion and big bare speculation about, oh, he's gone now. We see him get into a car with the security vans.
Little do they know, he's tucked up in bed just a few metres away.
Good night, Peters, and I'll see you in the morning.
It's a new day, and after 24 hours isolation, Scott Peters is about to be summoned to see the headmaster.
Right, Peters, you need to gather your things together and come with me.
Stand in front of me, please, Peters. You've completed 24 hours of isolation. Whether or not you found that arduous or not, I don't know. But I'm telling you now, fairly and squarely, that this will be the last time you will be standing in front of me on a disciplinary issue. Because the next time that I will be telling you to pack your bags and to leave this school, and you will leave in disgrace. You'll go back into the school now, and I expect you to join into school life in a positive, earnest manner. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Leave the room, please.
Peters gets a hero's welcome. But Vicky daren't approach him. If he breaks the 6-inch rule again, he'll be expelled.
This is like the worst ever punishment in the world. Oh.
They're going to be as soon as they get rid of that punishment, they're going to be watching you so closely because they know exactly what's
Well, I'd see him tomorrow, so...
Oh, just sod it, just go for it. Oh, look, you're like glowing now.
If I do anything wrong that he thinks needs to go to the headmaster, then I'm gone, and that's about it.
So basically just on your final.
Yeah.
So has 50's discipline had any impact on this teenage miscreant?
My attitude's changed now because, number one, I didn't know how bad it felt when I thought I was going to get excluded until this morning because I thought I was going and I was just so upset. And then when I came out and I just saw everyone's faces and everyone was happy and like Vicky started being happy again, everyone told me how much be. I just don't want to go now. I just want to stay till the end, so I'm going to just try not to get expelled.
Just push it, who cares?
It's the end of the 3rd week at Charles Darwin, and time for the eagerly anticipated go-kart race.
Your signs are better than your car!
Theirs is like literally a skateboard, and ours is now look at it like ours is beefy.
Will it be the girly go-kart or the macho machine that wins the day?
Yeah.
Each team must complete 5 laps of the course, changing driver each lap.
Can I just remind you, the winning team will be rewarded with a sumptuous meal of fish and chips. The losers get precisely nothing. Remember what the ancient Greeks taught you, coming second is nowhere. So it's all about winning. On your marks. Set. Go!
The boys are off to a good start, leaving the girls to struggle with a loose tyre.
Boys in front. And the girls are back on it. Well done!
By the end of the third lap, it's neck and neck. But the boys are having trouble negotiating their weighty cart round the slalom and lose a wheel. One wheel down, the boys resort to carrying their cart. But it's too little too late as the girls complete their final lap. A rendition of the school anthem rubs salt into the boys' wounded egos. Bad luck, lads.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed because, like, I've been saying earlier that, oh yeah, ha ha ha, and we lost.
I feel how every other girl feels, you know, the fact that not only have we won something, but we've won something that the boys are expected to win at.
I think that it's a good victory, and all of the girls put something into that car. They still put something into it, and it's just wicked that we won. It's so cool.
To the victors go the spoils.
Oh my God, I've got mushy.
For the losers, liver stew and boiled carrots.
I think it was actually one of the best days that we won the go-karting competition. Come on, the girls. It was so funny.
The battle of the sexes. At the moment, the girls are kicking our asses like, oh, we are just doing so badly.
Everyone at the beginning was like, boys are better than girls, but at the moment, the girls are beating us in everything.
As a special treat, the school has organised a dance. Matron has lent the girls her lipstick.
Let's go out, girls. Let's go out. Oh, what You look like my nan. You look like my nan. I don't look my nan.
And given the boys brill cream and aftershave.
People are all making efforts trying to do their hair, but I'm like, how is hair going to help when you're dressed in a white shirt, swag shoes, and grey socks? And like, how is doing your hair going to help? Like, oh, your hair's nice, but you look stupid.
To cap it all, the 6-inch rule has been suspended.
Promise Kaylee dance. Yeah, Sam first, obviously. So yeah, hopefully we'll do a bit of the old bump and grind, you know.
Negotiating the sexual politics of a school dance is a tricky business when you're 16.
Like, at the moment, all the girls are like saying who they want to dance with and everything, and Ingram asked me to dance.
Joe's going to ask Holly because they're good mates, and well, Kaylee wants to dance with Hudson, but as whether he'll ask her, we don't know, because we all know that she likes him, but he doesn't really like her or something, and like Scott and Vicky, obviously.
I don't know, I think most people have kind of got people they want to dance with, but they're not really saying who.
Right, ready, girls? When you come in, go to the far side of the room, please. Far side of the room. Far side of the room.
Boys and girls, good evening. Welcome to the Charles Darwin School Dance. Just like to remind you, boys and girls, that the 6-inch rule is relaxed this evening.
There's no fags, no booze, and certainly no ease, but all the kids are having a great time, even if it's not cool.
I'm a bit worried about what people are going to think of me now, but I don't care because I'm having fun. It's good because we don't get this. We just have lessons all day, and now we're just having a little bit of fun, so it's cool.
Oh yeah, tonight's been the funnest night I've had here ever. It's been so funny. It's just totally different. Like, all the teachers are different. All the people, like, even if you haven't talked to them or got on with them, as soon as like you just start dancing, it's just you just like forget everything. It's just so much fun to do.
It's the calm before the storm. Next week, the kids will be sitting genuine 1950s O-levels. Will the girls rule the roost, or will the boys fight back?
Right! 10!
Next week on That'll Teach 'Em, Peters is in trouble again.
How much more have we... I've had it up to here!
Exams, exams, and more exams.